Good morning and welcome to another video. I am Blair. You are watching Back to the Past. In this episode, I'm going to be making a rack, essentially a server rack, a small one, for my solar batteries because I've got an additional 3 that I had ordered quite some time ago. I've received them, but this is the one project that needs to be done before I get my shoulder surgery done because there's no way that there's probably no way that I would lift these into place alone anyway. I've got my son coming to help me later this week to help me to get them into place, but I need to get this server rack built and wall mounted before I can do that. So stick around and we'll get started on building this rack. These batteries, of course, aren't light. I've got 6 in a cabinet there. I'm going to be adding 3 more. This rack that I'm making, I'm probably going to make it for 4 just in case I want to put in a 4th one. I'm going to wall mount this, and having 300 pounds of batteries plus the weight of the rack means there's going to be pretty substantial weight hanging from this wall. Now, EG4 makes a battery that is equivalent, I think, to 3 of these 100 amp hour batteries that I've got that I'm going to hang. It says it's wall mounted, but then when you read closely it says do not mount to the wall without support from the bottom. Now I'd have one heck of a time getting a 300 pound battery wall mounted that is well above my head, even with help from my really tough son. So I've decided to go with the 100 amp hour batteries where they can be slid in there one at a time. Quite a bit cheaper too. Having significant weight there, I am going to build this thing to where I have 2 studs, one there, one over here. You might see that laid out on the wall. I'm going to want this mounted to that. However, I'm going to want to mount this rack just as far to the left as possible in case these inverters ever need to be replaced, just to have some working room without having to pull the batteries back down. So that's what I'm after on my design for this rack. I brought back some iron from Colorado on this past trip. For my primary side supports, I'm going to be using this 2x2 by 3/16 angle iron, which is going to be more than enough to do it. Across the top, I will run a piece of 3x2 by 1/4 inch angle, and that's going to be the primary attachment that's going to hold it to the wall. I will probably even go so far as to drill a couple bolts all the way through the wall so that I'm 100% confident that this thing isn't going to fail for me. I'll get started by cutting this 2x2 angle into pieces that are approximately 19 inches in length. Since I'm a little limited on the amount of 3x2 angle that I have, I'm going to just go ahead and make the top piece out of a 2x2 angle and then a bottom flat piece that'll go across it just to push against the wall because it's going to try to pull out away from the wall. That needs to be 25 inches in length. I will have more use for the flat, but I'm going to go ahead and get those ground down and weld it into the basic framework that I need. And then I'll come back, I'll have to cut a couple of flat pieces for the front and then a couple of diagonal pieces just to keep this all rigid. And that'll all be done with this same 1.5 inch flat. The two side pieces now that will be against the back need to be 32.5 inches long. I've cut those to length. I'm going to go ahead and head back to the welder. I'm not going to record any of that. I am 100% confident in my ability to weld together pieces that's going to hold a couple thousand pounds, but I'm not the person to teach you how to make a pretty weld, so there's no sense in recording that. We can take a look at it when I get back. I got all the welding finished yesterday, late afternoon, evening. Now I need to do some cleanup on it in order to be ready to paint. Now, a couple problems that I had yesterday was some warpage from heat, and that's all pretty normal. I got it all straightened out, so I'm pretty happy about it. Welds aren't beautiful, but they're not bad either. One problem I did have is with welding splatter, so I've got a lot of welding splatter to clean up on this darn thing. My welding rod, I've done my best to keep it dry. I've kept it in a sealed container, but gosh, it's 3 or 4 years old already, so maybe that's to be expected. And it's not a real big deal to clean up. That's next. I have everything pretty much cleaned up. I think I got all the welding smoke off. I got all the slag chipped. I got all of the splatter cleaned up. So I think I'm ready to paint. Now, the cabinet that the rest of my batteries are in is painted a hammered black paint, which is what I will end up using here too. I got some other paint that I want to use up first that I'll end up using as a primer. That has it fabricated and painted, and once it dries for a few hours, I'm going to move it out of the way to where I can get my truck back in here because it's been drizzling all day. I'm going to try to mount that myself. I don't know if I can or not. It probably weighs about 60 pounds or so, and really my right hand doesn't do much more than just go along for the ride when I'm trying to do something overhand. I'm not sure that I can do it. But I'm hoping to have my son here on Saturday to help me set batteries, and he can always help me get it set in place if need be. I'll be back then. All right, so this is what the finished product looks like. This will be mounted against the wall. That'll be the open side that we slide the batteries into. Now, in order for me to have any chance of being able to set this myself, there's no way that I'm going to be able to hold this up there and try to start screws. So what I've done, I got this little jam, if it'll focus, that I will drive into the wall, lay out my spot on the wall, drill it, put this end in, and then be able to set this hanging from this bolt. And then it should be a simple matter of just plumbing it up and putting in the rest of the fasteners. This upper hole is bigger. On that one, I'm going to have a bolt that goes completely through the wall, and since it's an exterior wall, it should be pretty easy to attach. My idea for getting the rack set actually worked, so it is up and in place now. My son came by this morning to help me get these LifePower 4 batteries put in place. And actually how he helped was he did all the work and I tried to stay out of his way.